Oleg Konovalov, welcome to the conversation today.
I'm so honored to be at your show. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It is a pleasure to be with you. You're joining me from across the pond in the UK. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah. And today we're going to be talking about Oleg's recent book, The Fisherman's Path to Leadership. We were just talking in the pre-interview, about fishing a little bit. That's something I've done on occasion, but I'm not really a fisherman. I don't really do that as a pastime too much. So I'm really excited to learn about some of the insights that Oleg has in relation to leadership because that's my jam. That's something that I love to talk about all day long. Oleg, as we get started, I just want to share your bio with everybody. Oleg Konovalov is a global thought leader, author, business educator, consultant, and C-suite coach. Konovalov has been named one of the top 8 global experts in leadership and shortlisted for the Distinguished Award in Leadership by Thinkers 50. He is on Global Guru's Top 30 in Leadership, is the #1 global leading coach with Marshall Goldsmith Thinkers 50 Award, and has been named one of the Global 100 Inspirational Leaders in 2022, along with Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Oprah Winfrey. Having been named the Da Vinci of Visionary Leadership by many leading authorities of our time, he is considered the #1 person in the world in the field of vision and visionary leadership. And as I mentioned, he is the author of The Fisherman's Path to Leadership, which we're going to be talking about today, and also a book called The Vision Code, Leaderology, and many other books. Uh, it's a pleasure to be with you, Oleg. Anything else you would like to highlight by way of your background or personal context before we dive on it?
We're expecting too much to have, expecting too much from AI, that AI will bring us solutions. No, it's about us exploring those solutions and creating them. And as you said, we're talking, sitting on the different sides of the pond. No, it's what about connects us.
Yeah.
Books, passions, the same thoughts. It's all about this. What we could do to be better tomorrow.
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. What we can do to be better tomorrow. Well said. All right. As we get started, I always like to ask authors, really what's the impetus behind these books? Because books are labors of love. It takes a lot of time and energy. It takes some grit and fortitude to get through and push through the ups and downs related to getting your thoughts out on the page and writing a book. So, what is it about The Fisherman's Path to Leadership that you felt was so essential and important? Why this book? Why now?
Leadership is not much about how to do. Leadership is very much how to be. It's all
Mm,
about mindset. And you can't teach true leadership by the books. And it's about what we learn through our experiences. We'll have hundreds, thousands of experiences throughout our life. But whether we're paying attention to those lessons that we drain from those experiences, and we're becoming the best version of ourselves, or we tend to repeat the same things again and again. We can't learn from AI. AI only reflects what we know, what information we will download into it,
right.
and we'll
Yeah.
get it condensed, right? But we're still part of a nature. We're still biological creatures. We still learn from nature, and it reveals our true self. Who am I? Where I am? What am I a part of that nature, or am just like a nasty visitor?
Mm,
It's the same with people. You are learning with every interaction. You're learning with every joint action with people. You're learning from every event. And if you're good at it, you're becoming the best version of yourself. It's about how to be. And well, my life wasn't very smooth. I got different experiences, and of course, it was important to train those lessons through real stories of facing a force 11 storm in the North Atlantic or falling through the ice
mm,
in Arctic. It's all about what I have learned in real way that is shareable. Another thing is, we're all taught to be smart. We're learning from books, learning from facts, or from the news on TV. Smartness is not shareable. When you interact with nature, you are learning how to be wiser. You're becoming wiser. And wisdom is shareable. So it was more about how to help people to become the best version of themselves, how to be better and be wiser.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that. And leadership as a mindset, I completely agree. I think there are some very specific types of leadership related skills that people can develop, but it all comes back to that foundational mindset shift that I think a lot of people have to go through in order to move into developing their full potential as a leader. And sometimes we talk about the distinction between management and leadership, for example. Being a good manager doesn't necessarily mean you're a good leader. And just because you're a good technical expert or you have, you know, competencies and expertise within your field doesn't mean you're going to be a good leader. And so shifting the mindset, adjusting how you frame your interactions with other people is really key to good leadership, in my opinion. And that's really what this book is all about. So let's dive on in and share with us the framework and the premise behind connecting fishing with leadership, the fisherman's path to leadership.
First of all, it begins with a simple understanding. In fishing and in leadership, it's a very important aspect. You must be comfortable being uncomfortable. We're all looking for some kind of a comfort. I will do the same job. I will put the same effort, but I'm still expecting that much greater result. It doesn't work. It's all about being uncomfortable, and then you would grow. We're not growing in the comfort zone. We're growing
Mm-hmm.
in the zone which is beyond us. It's about asking questions beyond convenience. And you can't talk to a fish and ask, hey, would you take today? What kind of a fly? More or less, you're posing all those questions to yourself. What can I do better? How I should approach things in a different way? And therefore, it's all about how to tell you how to be successful interacting with nature. But immediately it turns you in a way how I could be successful when I'm leading people. It's about being part of nature or being part of people. It's all about being part of them and creating a value and not just taking. Leadership is very much about give to give. It's not about
Mm-hmm.
grab to run and run. The same with nature. Nature is not a resource, it's a source. And therefore we're learning, as soon as we enrich ourselves. I have learned a great thing, whether in fishing or in leadership. It comes with a simple statement. Love and care are my best tackles.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to catch people's hearts and minds, love and care. If I want to help people to grow, love and care. You don't need any other tools in this sense.
Yeah, I often tell people, I think leadership, like you said, it's a mindset shift. But as you interact with people, as you're present with people, it comes down to, like you said, love and care. I think it's fundamentally just treating people with dignity and respect. If I, as a leader, care about you, I treat you with care and dignity and respect, and I try to support you. That, I may not be perfect in everything that I do, but I will I will be off to a good start, shall we say, in terms of how I lead you and how I lead my team. People resonate with that care. One of the questions, I had, I'm not sure this is even part of what your book is at all, But and I don't mean to make this a religious thing, but when I first read your title, The Fisherman's Path to Leadership, I immediately thought of the Christ figure who often is portrayed, as the fisherman, in within the realm of servant leadership is often kind of held up as that example. I'm wondering if there's any of that connection to your book, or if that just happens to be a coincidence with Fisherman.
It's coincidence, but I believe it's lucky coincidence.
Mm,
Leading people into the future, it's a matter of embracing uncertainty. You're leading people to the future, which for many is, I'm creating a solution that would make, as a leader, that would make that future certain. You're walking people on a water because we have no information, no knowledge about the future. You're literally walking people on the water,
mm,
right? Another thing is, you must believe into something greater than yourself. I'm not a judge to tell you, okay, you must believe in God or whatever, in universe, doesn't matter. You must believe in something which is greater than yourself. Otherwise, you're not a leader. You are feeding your ego.
yeah,
I want
yeah.
to be big.
And to
Think
your point, for those who are religious or uh, partake in more spiritual traditions, that's wonderful. But what you're suggesting, in my mind, really doesn't have to be tied to that. But it's also just recognizing our connectedness to each other. Um, like you said, maybe it's the spiritual connection to the universe, to nature, whatever. Maybe it's simply the fact that we recognize how we're social animals, how we're interdependent with each other, and how we're all intimately connected with each other. That in and of itself is more of a transcendent kind of purpose than it just being about me.
brilliant, brilliant, because you are greatly said, transcending, because we are not, our connectedness is not defined by time we spend together. It's
Hmm.
defined by how much energy we exchange together. And therefore, we are connected. When you get to a nature or when you work with people, it's all about energy that we create or exchange, and so we
Hmm.
create together as a result that drives us to some kind of a result, an outcome together. It's all about this.
Yeah, so
And
that connectedness, that togetherness, that seeing and being with the people that we're around presently in the moment, I think all of that is a huge piece of what leadership is all about. And again, as I'm not an avid fisher, I'm not someone who avidly fishes, and so I can't speak to that experience that much. But what I have experienced and what I see others experiencing, and as I've heard it described to me, that you do feel this sense of connection as you're fishing. You feel a sense of connection with the water. You feel a sense of connection with the fish, with nature at large. And it's kind of this symbiotic kind of connection and relationship. Um, that, in my mind, is something that we definitely want to see and should see in how we interact with our people on our teams at work, or any other context, I suppose, where we may be talking about leadership.
exactly, because think, it's not about being there, it's about being part of it. What does it mean? Spectators read only strong signals. What is seen on a screen or what is shown to you by people or what nature shows you exactly now, like rain or wind or sunshine. Spectators read only strong signals. Those who are part of nature, part of people, they see weak signals. They become wiser, and therefore they're able to read the true reality
Mm.
and get those dots connected and come up with solutions, because what we see now wouldn't be relevant within an hour or two.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's about being true with people, and therefore you are much more efficient in producing value for people because you know what to offer. You
Yeah.
can, it's it's not connectness. We're not about to rub shoulders. Oh, I'm a friend with this guy, or we know each other, or whatever. We're connected on social media. No, it's about being truly connected and understand what kind of a value I could offer.
Yeah. I know in the book you also talk about some of the common characteristics or traits that are present in both leaders and fishermen alike. Also, you cover a range of topics: vision, doubt, preparation, positivity. Maybe take a little bit of time and walk us through first some of those traits that you see as being common across leaders and fishermen, and then we can get into some of those other areas: vision, doubt, preparation, and positivity.
I have a fancy analogy, John. Think for a moment. Taxi driver and a Formula One pilot, they both have the same license, driving license,
Mm,
but the outcome is different. And the same, we could say, what's the difference, or what is common between a fisherman and a leader, and I wouldn't say the rest, but from a common. Being a leader, being a great fisherman, is still about a category of Formula One pilot because it demands learning every every time you're at nature or every time you're with people. It demands a lot of deep thinking. Little thought, nothing caught.
mm,
And on average, these days, unfortunately, we tend to keep one thought for only about 10 seconds.
mm.
Can you be a great leader if you're thinking about something for 10 seconds only? No chance. You're just a taxi driver. But if you're a great leader, you must think deep. And that reveals that great fishermen, great leaders, they're not jumping a gun. They're thinking deep before open a mouth or do something. They're not about this. And of course, it's about patience, it's about persistence, it's about being great in observing the things. It's about being mindful. It's very much about this. As I said, little thought, nothing caught. Whatever happens, you can't use old tricks all the time. It wouldn't work. You must use different approaches all the time because the weather is changing, environment is changing. You don't have those answers. The fish doesn't swim in the water with a sign, I'm taking that fly today. People also, they're not showing what they really want, and
Mhm.
often they don't know what they really want. Therefore, you must really be mindful what you want to offer, how to get with people. So, learning is still back to learning because you're always learning. It doesn't mean that whatever you've been successful catching salmon, for instance, in Arctic 10 years ago, the fish will react exactly the same way today. No, every season is different. Every day is different. And therefore, you must learn all the time. It's like in leadership. You can't lead people with the same old approaches. You must be very creative. You must learn what works best. You must learn what you could do better.
Yeah, and to your point, context matters a lot. So, like with fishing, I would imagine, depending on what you're fishing, depending on where you're fishing, what time of year you're fishing, there's a lot of different factors that create the context in which, you're trying to do your task, right? And the same thing applies in the workplace. different organizations, different divisions or units within that organization, different teams and dynamics, different team makeups, even individuals have their own salient motivators and they have their own stuff going on in life that is influencing how they're interacting with everyone around them. And I often think, for example, like it's one of the best things a leader can do is know people on your team, understand them, understand what drives them, understand what what styles work best with them, etc. But one of the traps I think that some fall into, many leaders don't do that at all. Anyways, there's no like real connection with their people. They don't really know or understand their people. But sometimes people will put in the work. They'll do the work to try to gain that understanding and then they feel like they figured it out. And so just because I did it today doesn't mean that 6 months from now, that person's going to be in the same spot in terms of career, in terms of life stage, career stage, family dynamics, all the different things that are, creating the context they're functioning in. That evolves for them over time. The team dynamics at work evolve over time. So it can't be something that I just do once and then figure, oh, I figured this person out. Now I understand what makes them tick. I really have to put in the effort day in, day out, consistently over time. And I mean, that doesn't mean we can't ever build off of what we've learned before. Of course we can, but we can't become stagnant and we can't become complacent. We can't just assume that because we figured something out before or we did something that worked before, that it's going to play out the same way in the future. Maybe that sounds obvious, but it's something that
Well,
many
you're
people just don't do.
you're 100% right. You can't say I love you to your wife in the same tone, in the same verse all the time. You will get smart. It's all about using different approach. And what we have at hand is important, but what we have in our minds is more important. That makes our ultimate difference. And therefore, you must shift it all the time, expand it all the time, because otherwise you will get into the routine and you're dead. It's all about growing. It's all about being better than challenges or stronger than challenges that you're about to face. We talk about a future every day in modern life becomes more challenging. We're facing more and more changes, and we can't play them with old melody.
Mm,
We must be much stronger than forthcoming challenges. And that's what we could learn from nature. You can't learn it from books. You can't learn it from AI. You must be better. It's Leadership is an art expressing your life in different forms every time you interact with people. And that's the same. You could learn it from a source like nature.
mm, yeah, yeah. Oleg, this has just been a really great conversation. I note the time I need to let you go here in just a few minutes, but before we wrap things up, I wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, where they can find your book, and then give us a final word on the topic for today.
The final word. What I have learned from fishing, facing storms, and facing challenges in Arctic, I must be the storm myself, the storm which is stronger than forthcoming challenges. I could build it only from within me. I can't get it from outside. I can't borrow it. If you want to be a really strong leader in terms of your mindset and approach in a way how you work with people, read The Fisherman's Path to Leadership, and it's available on Amazon. You could find it on my website, olegkonovalov.com. You could connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm fairly responsive to messages. I do respond to those messages myself. Uh, it's not about corporate cases, it's about real cases. What you could learn and address to your experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. Oleg, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, get connected, find out more about what Oleg can do for you. Check out the book. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week.